make sure that you are reaching out to the people that are your safe people that are going to support you. Generally, people want to help other people. And if you are struggling, it's okay to ask for help. Welcome to the Fearless Foodie, the podcast that gets honest about what it really takes to thrive in food and retail. I'm Amy Wilkinson, coach, speaker and trusted partner to food industry teams with lived experience of the pace, pressure and politics that come with the job. Fearless Foodies cut through the fluff and get straight to what actually helps. And that's exactly what we're here to do. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Fearless Foodie. We are coming up to the most wonderful and the most chaotic time of the year. If you work in food and retail, you know that the next 6 weeks aren't just going to be busy, they're going to be brutal. Deadlines get tighter, demands get louder, everyone's like running on fumes as we go into the Christmas period. This is the final episode of this series of the Fearless Foodie podcast, and I'm going to share with you some real talk and practical tools to help you protect your energy, set boundaries, and stay sane through the Christmas chaos. Quite passionate about this one. You know that I suffered burnout, and it was after Christmas. It was all the lead up of this stuff that led me to being in a really horrible, sticky situation. And I want to help you prevent that for yourselves. And honestly, this is the end of the first series of the Fearless Foodie podcast. And this is why I'm running it in seasons, because when I co-hosted the Over Food's Sake podcast with Lucy, we went full throttle every single week and it was relentless. And I learned the hard way that even when it's your passion project, when it's something you really want to do, you still need recovery time. So being fearless doesn't mean pushing through at all costs, but it does mean knowing when to pause, when to push back, and when to put yourself first. So let's dive in to talking today about why we need this episode and why it's so important at this time of year to really think about how you take care of yourself and not just pushing through. Because it is a time of year where everything is going on. It can be total carnage. You're juggling in launches, everybody's launching stuff in store. So like everybody wants you to go out and have a look at those products and review those products. The factory's going full pelt. Everybody's really busy. And outside of work, you're busy as well, aren't you? You've got all of that going on at work, but then outside of it, you've got all of that. And you're probably already planning for Christmas 2026. I think people that don't work in the industry don't get that, do they? That we're already thinking a year, 18 months out a lot of the time. You might be still getting stuff signed off. You've got January launches coming as well. You know, there's loads of stuff going on. So I wanted to offer you something practical, some not just like a pep talk saying, you know, go and take a lunch break, because it's like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. But actually a bit of a toolkit to help you get through, because one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and one of the things that I do when I have resilience workshops and stuff, is to help people see that being resilient isn't just getting your head down and keeping going to the point of making yourself ill. It is knowing when to stop, and it is knowing when to pause, and it's knowing what's important for you and what will help you to get through things. And, you know, it is a really high pressure time of year. Teams are generally quite stretched. And I know if I look back 20 years ago, the resource we have now versus what we had 20 years ago in the industry is different. So I kind of want you to know as well that it isn't in your head if you feel like this is really difficult. And I was thinking back to earlier in the series when we had Nairi on, and she was talking about breaking the rules of work. But one of the things that she said was, you know, if you're feeling like you're not thriving, you're just surviving and you're just getting through things, then it's probably not you. It's not your fault. And actually working harder isn't going to fix a broken system, because the system can be a bit broken in places. And it is your, you know, that is wrong. We're not going to say that it isn't wrong, but it is still your responsibility ultimately to look after yourself. So thinking about that, what is going to help you be more fearless and look after yourself better as we head into November, December, even the start of January with all the busyness that goes on? Remembering that powering through does not make you special, doesn't make you amazing. And actually, sometimes it papers over the cracks of the lack of resource that's in the team. You feel like you're doing a good thing for everybody around you, but actually you're not calling out that we have got a lack of resource or that isn't possible to do. So actually thinking about fearlessness as actually saying the things that need to be said, saying I don't have the capacity to do that right now, saying it's going to have to wait until January, admitting that you need a break is not a bad thing. And again, one of the things that Nairi said was, I remember she made that point of one of the bravest things that we can do is to put boundaries in place. And one of the things that she talked about, and she owns her business or co-owns it, and she is actively trying to break the rules, but she still feels the guilt when she says things like, I'm leaving now to do the school run and I'm not going to be back for the rest of the day. But actually, you don't have to feel guilty. If you're in an organization that allows you to do that, like, I think sometimes we feel like we need permission for absolutely everything, but a lot of the time we have to give ourselves permission. And I think if you're listening, that isn't just about at work as well. Thinking about what are the things outside of work that you could just say no to at the moment, because by saying no to that, you might be saying yes to some other stuff. Because this is the time of year where everyone just wants to, oh, should we have some Christmas drinks? Or we just need to do this. If you've got kids, there's like a million plays and this, that, and the other going on at school. And it's just too much. And the world of work is not set up to support us to do all of those other things. Like, it is not you that is the problem. It is the system that is the problem, that we feel like we have to do everything and have to be perfect at everything. So I want you to think about how you can reclaim some time and sanity for yourself throughout the next 6 weeks of the silly season. I've got some practical tips on how you might do that. So the first one is about thinking about what are your non-negotiables. So what are the things that you need to help you protect your time and energy? And it's different for different people. But for me, as an example, I have put a meeting block in my diary so that people can't book into my diary before 9:30, because it helps me to have quiet time in the morning. It sets me up for the rest of the day. It really helps me. And I've got much better at time blocking and blocking out periods of time so they don't get filled with meetings, so that I do have time for meals, for breaks. And I'm not sitting here saying go and have an hour's lunch break every day. And I always say that when I'm running training courses, because I'm like, in the real world, that doesn't happen. Like, if you can, amazing. But a lot of the time that doesn't happen. But could you just say, for today, I am going to eat my lunch without doing work at the same time? So maybe not an hour's lunch break, but I'm actually going to switch off all devices and I'm just going to go and sit somewhere else and eat my lunch. Not for long, but just enough to give you that break. Because really, those micro breaks that we give ourselves throughout the day make a massive difference in how well you feel like you can cope and the capacity you have got. All right, time to give a quick shout out to the people making this podcast happen. These are the brilliant sponsors backing bold, fearless conversations like this one. Let's hear from them. Ensuring food safety and quality is crucial. That's why businesses trust Microsearch Laboratories, part of the IFP Labs group. UCAS accredited Microsearch offers microbiological, nutritional and allergen testing for food, drink and water, delivering fast results and expert support. With over 30 years of experience, trusted by leading manufacturers and retailers, and a commitment to sustainability, Microsearch is your partner in product safety. Visit micro-search.co.uk to learn more. At Fearless Foodies, we've walked the walk. Our one-to-one leadership coaching gives you space to think, speak freely, and get clear on what matters. It's practical, supportive, and always tailored to you. Delivered by experienced coaches who understand the realities of working in the fast-paced world of food manufacturing and retail. Head to fearlessfoodies.co.uk to find out more. And we're back. Let's dive right in. My second tip on this one is to get practiced at using constructive language to push back when people are asking you to do things. So I would call this your capacity language. So thinking about how you say to do that well, or yeah, I absolutely can do that for you, but it will mean that I have to push this thing back. Or to do that well, I need an extra week until the deadline. Or I can absolutely do that for you, but I'm going to have to push that back. Which one of the things is a priority? So just have some stock phrases up your sleeve ready for those moments where you might automatically say yes, or you might feel like you can't push back. The more you practice the sort of language of going, yeah, I can absolutely do that for you, but this is going to have to come off the pad, so that you can be honest and you can be realistic about what you can get done. And it feels less scary if you practice it. The third thing is about being honest about what's being realistic. Like, stop trying to be Superman, Superwoman. Think about how you can set boundaries with your team. If you are somebody that never feels like you can get anything done because you're constantly getting interrupted with the, can I just have a minute? Can you just help me with this? Like, say to them, actually, now isn't a good time, but I can come back to you at 4 o'clock. Set those boundaries with your team, with your suppliers, with your customers, or actually, sometimes it's with your boss as well. And it doesn't have to be like, setting boundaries, I think, can sometimes feel like a really scary word, but actually it can be very gentle. It's just in the not automatically saying yes every time somebody asks for a piece of you and a piece of your time. And my fourth one is about letting go of perfect, getting clear on when is good enough, good enough. And this is something that I was massively guilty of in my career in food manufacturing. And for a long time, I used to be a complete perfectionist about certain things. Like, for instance, my PowerPoints had to be amazing because I was known for doing really good PowerPoints. But sometimes I probably spent too much time on making sure that it looked great when actually it just needed to be done and out the door. So actually start thinking about, where are the things that you might be setting the bar a little bit too high for yourself or for your team or for the people around you. And actually, when is good enough, good enough? So that's my 4 tips for you going into silly season. Pick what your non-negotiables are. When are you going to time block? When are you going to have some lunch? When are you going to have a little break for yourself? Set those non-negotiables and stick to them. The second one was about practicing your capacity language. So saying, I can do that, but I'm going to have to drop this. The third one is about being honest about what is realistic and setting boundaries. And the fourth one is about letting go of perfect. Now, all of those things that I have just talked about could absolutely apply outside of work as well as inside of work. So think about all of those things. Where do you need to start saying no to things? Where do you need to start being honest and setting better boundaries with yourself? And where do you stop feeling like you have to be the perfect person in the lead up to Christmas? And I just thought that I would reflect on as well, what has this series taught us and taught me? And I think about all the conversations that I've had. And the standout conversations for me around resilience were the one that I had with Nairi Ambarchian about how she had this realization that she wasn't the problem after she had her child, that it was the system that was the problem, and that we need to question the rules and the unwritten rules as well. Do you remember she talked about how we sort of create this thing in our head about what the expectations on us are, and they're deep rooted because of the way the world of work is, but actually start to question those things and know that you are not the problem and start taking some control back for yourself. And the other one for me was the conversation with Briege, where she talked about knowing that you're not always going to get it right, but create that security, create that safe environment where you can get things wrong. So if you are in a team of people or if you lead a team of people, how can you make it safer for people to say, actually, I'm struggling, or I've messed up, and partly by doing that yourself and being a bit more vulnerable yourself, that allows other people to be more vulnerable. And then the other thing that Breeze talked about was how many people had supported her throughout her career. And I feel like if you are struggling in the next 6 weeks, well, ever, but this episode is all about how to survive this lead up, this busy time and this lead up to Christmas, make sure that you are reaching out to the people that are your safe people that are going to support you. Generally, people want to help other people. And if you are struggling, it's okay to ask for help. When I look back on my burnout, I wish I had asked for help myself. So if there is anything else, any one thing I want you to take away is to know that you are not alone and that it is okay to ask for help. But remember, you're not the problem. The pressure is real. You're not making it up in your head. It's not you failing. The pressure on us in the world at the moment is real and it isn't sustainable. So it is okay to pause, because no one's going to do that pause for you. You've got to pause yourself. But being fearless is about choosing where you spend your energy, and it is okay to rest. And if you think of rest as strategic, not as being selfish, but actually meaning that you can keep going for longer, then this is your permission slip, not that you need it to go and have some rest. But know that you are not alone if you are struggling at this time of year. It is the time of year that is relentless in the food industry. We are juggling so much. And I just want to say to you, if no one else has said this to you this month, this week, this year, you are doing brilliantly. You can do this. Keep going. So that is it for this season of the Fearless Foodie podcast. How did you find it? I have really enjoyed it. It's been super weird, I'm not going to lie. This whole solo episode thing I struggle with a little bit, but hopefully, let me know. What do you think? Am I doing an okay job? That didn't sound very fearless, did it? See, we all feel the fear and we do it anyway. So I will be back in January and I would love to hear from you in the meantime. So do inbox me. So message me on LinkedIn is the best way to get me. Tell me what topics you would like to hear, what guests you would like me to have on. But the other thing I would love for you to do is to share this podcast, because the more you share it, the more foodies like you we reach. And it means that I can do bigger and better things with the podcast. And it means that I can get bigger and better guests on as well. So please do make sure that you tell a friend or a colleague about the podcast. I have a mailing list. The link for that is in the show notes. I also have my 4 ways to be fearless postcards. I've got that are like nice little crib sheets that you can take away, and a video for that. So sign up for that. And if you are a woman in the food industry, we have Fearless Women Connect. We meet twice a month online to have fearless and just any old conversation that we want to have. But it's a safe space for women in food and retail to have a good chat, to meet other like-minded women like them. So do come and join us there as well. So if I'm going to leave you with one thing, it is to say, have a great Christmas when it comes. But this season is to be jolly, but it is also okay. And be bold enough to say no if you need to. Be brave enough to rest when you need to. And be kind enough to yourself to let good enough be enough. Be bold, be brave, and be kind to yourself. And I will see you in series 2. See you later. That's a wrap on this episode of The Fearless Foodie. If it hit home, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready for less fluff and more real talk. And if you're ready to build a bolder, braver, more brilliant team, come find me at fearlessfoodies.co.uk. Until next time, be bold, be brave, be fearless.